Hi, it's Tim Hagen from Progress Coaching, and welcome to another episode of Coaching Conversations. And I wanted to make you aware of something very cool that we're doing on a subscription basis, and we'll put a link in each one of our episodes. But every Wednesday, we're going to be doing what we call an audio podcast workshop. That workshop will be roughly about 14 to maybe 20 minutes per episode, with each month having a theme from a coaching model, using feedback strategically, to coaching self-awareness, and so on. So if you could look in the body or in the content description of each episode, and you will see a link where you can join this subscription. These are literally 4 workshops every month, teaching specific strategies to address a particular area of workplace coaching, as it relates, again, to things like awareness, motivation, teamwork, and what have you. Here's the cool thing. It's only $10 per month, and each month you will get a handout that we will follow along with. So we also give you a tool for you to take notes as we go through each episode. We hope you'll check it out.
Lately, we've been hearing from a lot of leaders the word fatigue, words such as lacking motivation. And I had one of the greatest conversations with one of our clients, a good friend of mine, a really good friend of mine now, Jane from New York. And we were talking about observations of the workplace, certainly her workplace, my workplace, other people's workplaces, and we keep hearing the word fatigue. Now, I'm going to counter that just for a second. That does not mean fatigue is not real. It doesn't mean people are not feeling that way. Yet, with that being said, I go back to what's happened in a lot of workplaces. Some people are still virtual. Some are still in a hybrid world. Some people are given choices when and where to work. And I remember we were talking about an employee that she and I both knew, and we were talking about the time savings. And we started to dissect the time savings in this hybrid world. And we talked about 3 to 4 hours a week of not driving into the office or being stuck in traffic or driving home. That's 3 to 4 hours a week. And then we talked about, the idle chit chat where someone can say, hi, how you doing? How was your weekend? And you politely stop and you have those conversations. And I know we need to do those. I know those are valuable, especially now. Yet, they do take time. And we estimated that happens about maybe an hour a week. And then there can be those impromptu meetings. Come on, everybody, let's get together. Like Michael Scott from The Office. Everybody in the conference room. And we estimated that at roughly about an hour a week. Now, this was reality. This isn't conjecture. This is what we both represented and found out was actually happening. So it came out to about 6 hours a week, 24 hours a month. So the question then becomes, how are we reinvesting that time? Now, I got those numbers from actually an executive at the company who literally did a dissection of his own time savings. Now, we fast forward and people are feeling fatigued. The fatigue does not necessarily or solely come from the work. Fatigue comes from us sitting there feeling fatigued. Let me explain what I just said. When we're in the present moment, and we're thinking about fatigue, we're thinking about the workload, that's fatiguing. So when you have 24 hours, let's cut it in half. Let's talk about 12 hours, almost 1.5 days given back to you. The question remains, how did you reinvest that time? How are you using that time to offset fatigue? Let me give you an example. I love the concept of if you do nothing to change, nothing will change. So then we have to ask ourselves, day and a half, 24 hours, whatever you want to call it, how are we fueling our minds positively? See, here's the funny thing. When people are stressed and they sit on the couch and they talk to their family, their spouse, and say, oh, these are tough times. And they are for many people. I am not discounting that. Then can you answer this question? What are you doing to fuel your mind? What are you doing to stay upbeat? Now, my little company is in the business of helping other people. I have to constantly remind my staff, guys, we don't have stress. We're not in technology where we support people's file servers and someone calls and says our file server's down and we can't make payroll. That's stressful. That's stressful. So what we have to do is be conscientious of where we're at, what we're doing, and more importantly, how to fuel our minds. One of the things we do at our company is we have a fun officer every week. Every single week, we have to do something fun. And then we have an education officer. Someone can teach anything they want to the rest of the company. Now, again, we're a small company. You can do this in your teams. So the first week we had to dress up in, I think, 13 different colors, and Alyssa from our company created it. This past week, Stephanie created a quiz about your teammates, and the winner got a $50 gift card, and they were, things that we didn't know about each other. And it was really funny. My son, who works at the company, had something from his dentist put behind his teeth. I was the only one who didn't know it. Everyone started laughing. Laughter's powerful. And then we post videos. Now, we run our company on Slack. Yes, we are 100% virtual, have been for 10 to 12 years. So to a certain extent, we've had an advantage. And I will prompt people. Here's a video. And it will be a feel-good story about it, maybe a basketball manager with Down syndrome who got to play in a high school game, or an inspirational story. I just posted one with two people who had part of their left arms or their limbs were missing, and one was a baby and one was an adult. And all of a sudden, when the baby saw the woman with the limb missing, the baby started to smile and went up and hugged the person. It gets you going. See, here's the funny thing about fatigue. Fatigue is an emotion. It's an impact. It's an effect that really, quite frankly, we can bestow upon ourselves, or conditions or situations can be bestowed upon us. It's much like working out. If you're overweight or if you're tired walking up a flight of stairs, you don't sit down and say, oh, wow, I am way out of shape. I'm going to do nothing about that. No, you say to yourself, I got to get back in shape. We have to get our minds in shape. If you're a leader, play some inspirational videos at the start and end of your meetings. Have a fun officer. Have a teammate quiz or contest. Do you really know your teammates? Get people realizing this new virtual world, we've given you some time back. Now, working in your home, outside of the office, definitely takes discipline. Till this day, even though my staff is virtual, I have a 3 to 4 office suite that I work in with no employees. I love it. So to a certain extent, I'm still virtual, but I get out of the house. So when we're working, we have to be very conscientious of how we fuel our minds. If you're a leader, how we fuel the minds of our people. And I was talking to someone the other day, and we're going back and forth, and we're having this great conversation, and the person goes, it's just, man, at the start of the year, I'm just so fatigued. And I want to say something that's going to come off really rough, and it might even offend some people. Perspective is powerful. Perspective is very powerful. And I said, I think at times I feel the same way. And I'm in this business, right? And he said, yeah. And I said, think about the people in Ukraine. And all of a sudden you could see this emotion overcome this guy. And he goes, what do you mean? I said, these people are picking up, never to go back to their homes, fleeing the country in safety for their lives. We don't live that here in the United States. We take it for granted, quite frankly. Think about that. And all of a sudden the guy stopped complaining. I never once told him to stop complaining. I didn't bring up Ukraine to say, stop complaining. Our job as leaders is to provide perspective and then find ways to re-energize. So I want to challenge you with something. Think about a virtual meeting. And I want you, and we're going to do this at our company. I saw somebody do this, so I'm stealing this idea. Have bucket hat day. You know the bucket hats? Like Gilligan from Gilligan's Island used to wear, or you wear on a beach. Have bucket hat day. Everybody has to attend the meeting with a bucket hat on. And you know what's going to happen? We all know what's going to happen. We're going to look at each other. We're going to giggle. We're going to laugh. Man, you think that'll help fatigue?
Thank you for listening to another episode of Coaching Conversations by Tim Hagan and Progress Coaching. Now, our company is always coming out with new and innovative solutions to help leaders coach their employees. And recently, we just created a new service called Coach to You, where leaders can pick and choose topics and assign 7 to 21 day programs for employees to learn and, more importantly, apply actions and then reflect and share what they're going to do going forward as a result of the learning. It's called Coach to You. We're literally bringing coaching to your employees. If you're intrigued, we'll have a link in each one of our episodes where you can get more information. And again, thank you so much for listening to another episode.